Alright, welcome back to the channel. Today we've got our 5 best bets for college basketball here on January 4th. And this is by far the earliest we have ever posted one of these videos because we've got to play for an 8 a.m. game. So I got to get this video up at 7 a.m. Oh my goodness. Obviously the 8 a.m. game I'm talking about, you all know it. Florida versus Kentucky. We're going to have, that's a huge matchup today, maybe the biggest game on Saturday, and I have a play I really like in that basketball game. Now, I just got done watching New Mexico versus Nevada in the Pitt. My goodness, I mean, Nelly Jr. Joseph, game winner floater. I mean, what a basketball game. Now, New Mexico's getting screwed in that one, but I mean, I'm glad ball don't lie. New Mexico, the Lobos ended up getting in. Nevada, man, now 0-4 in the Mountain West with 4 really close games. Now, unfortunately, New Mexico didn't cover, but they did win on the money line. I took them live at halftime, at halftime, and I took them in overtime as well. So, you know, it is what it is. We've got 5 games, obviously, and 5 best bets for you for college basketball here on Saturday, January 4th. And folks, if you have not yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily college basketball best bets here on the channel. There are so many games today, but these are the 5 I like the most. Now, I'll be honest with you, there's one game we kind of threw in as a joke, but I do still like to play in the one game that is a joke. So we'll get to that in a minute. And also, folks, make sure to go check out our NBA predictions. Now, this NBA predictions today, that video is going to be posted at the same time that it always is, 10 a.m., just because the first game today in the NBA is at 3, so I don't think the video needs to be out too early today. So you have 3 hours until that video. So the longest we've ever separated the college basketball best bets and the NBA predictions. But yes, that video will be out at 10 a.m. Like it normally is, because again, there's no early games today in the association. Oh, there's our first best bet. I was going to tell you to go check out our NFL predictions and our college football predictions as well. Those are linked in the description down below. We got some NFL games today in the AFC North. Okay, we start things off obviously with the game that we talked about earlier, and here it is, the Florida Gators, who are undefeated, taking on the Kentucky Wildcats. I think it's the biggest game today, and it's crazy that this game is at 8 in the morning, obviously 11 o'clock over in Lexington, Kentucky at the Rupp Arena. We like the home team here. I'm taking Kentucky. I get it. Kentucky's lost. They lost a couple games ago badly to Ohio State. They lost the game by 20 points to the Buckeyes. Neutral site game. They return home. I don't think Florida goes into Kentucky and beats them. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't think they do. Florida's been good this season, right? But I've been kind of waiting for Florida to finally trip up and lose a game. I think it has to be in this spot. I'm just going to be honest. It has to be here. They've gone on the road once all year long. They went to Tallahassee and beat a Florida State team, which, you know, a lot of teams in the SEC are going to beat. Their other wins are Virginia, Wichita, Wake Forest, ASU. Their best victory is North Carolina, getting that one. Oh, God, that was in was it in Charlotte, that game? I think it was in Charlotte. Yes, it was in the Spectrum Center. Winning that game by 6 points, big victory. Again, I thought that was going to be the first time Florida lost this season, but obviously they were able to go out there and beat the Tar Heels since that win over UNC had 2 victories over 2, North Florida and Stetson, games that they were supposed to win against other Florida schools. They get the Kentucky Wildcats. I think Kentucky hands them their first loss. Obviously, today marks the start of SEC play. This is the first SEC game of this, the entire season, and here it means more, obviously, in the Southeast Conference. I'm joking, but yes, at the same time, we are taking the Kentucky Wildcats. They're at home. Their biggest win this season, obviously, is the win against Duke, winning that game by 5 points, and I get it. Lost to Ohio State looked really bad. They just couldn't get going in that basketball game. OA dropped 20. Everyone else really didn't do anything. They lost the game 85-65. They lost to Clemson earlier in the year on the road. I remember I picked Kentucky to win that game. Didn't go our way. But they've got 2 elite victories this year, man. The Duke win and the Gonzaga win as well, beating the Bulldogs in overtime. They've got a win over Louisville as well this season. Now, coming off that Ohio State loss, they were able to win on New Year's Eve, beating the Brown Bears. I mean, good victory, I guess, over one of the Ivies. But of course, this team is led by OA, who's averaging 16 points a night. You've got Lamont Butler as well, who's averaging 13. You've got Kobe Brea averaging 12 and Jackson Robinson averaging 12, along with Andrew Carr and Amari Williams, who are also posting double-digit scoring numbers. Again, OA is by far the top scorer and the leading scorer on this team, but you got so many other guys who contribute as well. Everyone on the court can efficiently score for the Kentucky Wildcats. And for Florida, obviously, Walter Clayton is the leader of this team, averaging 17.5. Elijah Martin also averaging 15, and Will Richard averaging 14. I think Kentucky's able to get them here. The game, again, it's in Lexington. It's the start of SEC play. You know that arena's going to be rocking for this one, obviously. First game of the season in the SEC, and you get the number 10 ranked Kentucky Wildcats taking on the number 6 ranked Florida Gators. I mean, you can't ask for a better start to SEC play here in 2025, and we are going with the Wildcats to get it done at home. Again, I think Kentucky in big games this season against ranked teams, they are undefeated. Their losses again are Clemson and Ohio State, but they were able to beat Duke when they were ranked 6th, Gonzaga when they were ranked 7th, and now they get the number 6 ranked Florida Gators, who again have not lost a game. I think they're due, man. They are so due to lose one. Now, if Florida can win, I mean, man, Tuesday, Tennessee versus Florida. Likely undefeated versus undefeated, as long as Tennessee is able to take care of business today against the Razorbacks of Arkansas. I'd expect them to, but I do think Kentucky spoils that little undefeated matchup because I think the Wildcats get Florida today in Lexington, but still another big game on Tuesday between Tennessee and Florida. All right, let's move on to our next game. We go to the ACC. Now, I'll be honest, maybe not the highest, the most hyped up basketball game. This is no Tennessee, Arkansas. This is hell no Georgia, Ole Miss. This is no South Carolina, Mississippi State. It's not even a UCLA, Nebraska, a game that I'll give you a bonus play. I think Nebraska beats UCLA in Lincoln. I think they do. But yes, we are going to the ACC. We have got a couple ACC games on the slate today, at least for us. And we're going to Miami versus Virginia Tech. I get it. Miami's been very disappointing this season, and so has VTech as well. But I think it's an opportunity for us to cash in against the Hurricanes. I'm taking the Hokies here. Give me VTech. I get it. They're a 5-8 basketball team this season. They've had some bad losses, but Miami shouldn't be favored to win this basketball game. They just shouldn't. Guys, this is a team coming off back-to-back losses against Mount St. Mary's at home, and then they just lost to Boston College. They are now 0-2 in ACC play. Their first game, a loss to the Clemson Tigers. I just don't see VTech losing this one. Guys, Miami has lost 9 out their last 10 games going into this one. They started the season 3-0, FDU, Bennington, and Copen State. Then they have lost, again, 9 out of 10. Their only win is Presbyterian, who somehow the other day beat Longwood. How bad is Longwood? I don't understand. The Big South doesn't make sense. High Point is going to probably win. What's wrong with Longwood, man? I like it. Losing the Blue Hose. But again, they've lost 9 to 10. Drake, OK State, VCU, Charleston Southern, Arkansas, Clemson, Tennessee, Mount St. Mary's, Boston College. I get it, those are good teams, but still, Mount St. Mary's is in that bunch. You also have Charleston Southern in that as well. And they just lost 3 days ago on the road at Boston College. Who's to say they're going to go on the road and beat VTech? I get it. Virginia Tech, another team, started the year 3-0, and now they have lost 6 out of 8. Right? Their losses. There's going to be some bad ones in here. Penn State, Jacksonville, Michigan, South Carolina, Vandy, Pittsburgh. The wins are over North Carolina A&T, Navy, loss to St. Joseph's, and a loss at Duke to open ACC play. Or actually, their second ACC game, obviously, they played Pitt to start ACC play. Here, though, this is the thing. VTech's at home in this basketball game. VTech hasn't looked as bad as Miami. At least Virginia Tech wins the games they're supposed to, with the exception of Jacksonville, right? They're able to beat Navy. They're able to beat North Carolina A&T. And I think Virginia Tech looked more hopeful in their loss against Pittsburgh than Miami has in both the Clemson and the Boston College games. And the thing is, Miami, it's not like they get so much worse once we go to ACC play. They're just bad in general. The Hurricanes just aren't good. There's no other way to put it. Nigel Pack's still out, who is their leading scorer. He has not played since the Tennessee game, which a game, they did stay competitive in. They did cover the spread in that one somehow, but obviously Tennessee ended up winning it by 13 points. You got Matthew Cleveland, who's averaging 12. You got Lynn Kidd, who's averaging 11.5. And then other than those guys, no one else averages more than 10 points for this Miami team. For VTech, again, you got Toby Law, who's averaging 11.5, and then nobody else averages more than 10 as well. You got Poteet, who's averaging 9, or basically 10. It's just, I think Virginia Tech takes care of business. Again, we're not expecting either of these teams to make a run this year in the tournament. I mean, these are two lower-level ACC schools. We have another low-level ACC school that we're going to continue to fade the entire season coming up. You might be able to guess it. We talked about them a couple days ago. Because, again, the ACC played on January 1st, and now they're playing again tonight. I think VTech wins their first ACC game this season. I just don't rely on Miami getting one here. Again, they're on the road. This team has struggled without their best player. What, they're gonna, they just lost at Boston College. They're gonna beat VTech? I just don't think so. I think Virginia Tech wins it. I'll be honest, low scoring game. I don't think many points are scored in this one. But I think Virginia Tech gets it. Law's been good. We've seen some big nights recently. Out of Hammond as well, who put up 17 a couple games ago. Ben Hammond averages 5 points a game, but some nights he will, he had 2 points in the Duke one though. That's 22 minutes, 2 points. But then the NCAA, the North Carolina, but that's a bad game. I mean, it's weird. Ben Hammond's got really weird splits. Sometimes he's great though. I don't know. He's a facilitator. Give me Virginia Tech. Give me the Hokies to go out there and beat the Hurricanes. I just don't think Miami's good. Give me VTech. Next up, we go to, this is the joke game. Okay. Guys, I know. We had to talk about it, though. We had to. I mean, I feel like, could I have talked about, Nebraska, UCLA, and dedicated a segment of the video to that? Yeah, probably. Should I have? Yeah, probably. But, are we going to have more fun talking about Bryce Williams in Nebraska, which great player, great team. I think they beat UCLA. Or are we going to have more fun with the 0-13 Jackson State Tigers and the 0-13 Alcorn State Braves? I mean, come on. Someone's O has got to go, and someone's got to win a basketball game tonight, and it's going to be the Alcorn State Braves. They're going to win at home. Now, I was very split on this pick, man. I thought long and hard about this one, and I almost got to the conclusion, we're going to take Jackson State, but then I thought, no, we're not going to bet against the Alcorn State faithful in the Davy L. Whitney complex in Lorman, Mississippi. I mean, come on, we're not. Let's see the type of crowds we're drawing here at Alcorn State. Ready? All right. Boom. Here's Davy L. Whitney Complex. Let's see how many people are in attendance for these games. Oh, okay. That's before the game, I hope. That's practice, definitely. Okay. See? We're going to let these good people down? This is a school event. Oh, my goodness. This is a high school day. Oh, crap. Oh, it's a women's game, but there's some people in the crowd. That's Texas Southern. See, there's some people in the crowd. Okay, guys, Alcorn, I just think they're better than Jackson State, though. I really think so. Now, this year they haven't really shown it, but last year Alcorn wasn't that bad. At least they weren't 0-13 bad. And, this team, they were 13-5 in the SWAC. I mean, again, and this is how the SWAC goes, because last year these two teams opened in SWAC play. I'll be completely honest with you guys. I don't know if this is a rivalry, excuse me, I don't know if it is, but they did play the first game last year in SWAC play, and Jackson State actually picked up the victory. But this is how SWAC teams usually go. Alcorn State last year started the season 1-13, including that loss on January 6th to Jackson State. They finished 14-18 and went 13-5 in the SWAC conference. They finished the year on a 9-game winning streak. That's big stuff for the Braves. And that's why I think, again, they are just the better team. They were the better team last year. And it's they've sucked to start the season. They lost to an NIAA known as Xavier, Louisiana. What is this school? Let's see how bad this loss is by determining we're going to look up Xavier University of Louisiana. Do we think the school is absolutely horrible at basketball? Let's experience student affairs. Okay. Attend events. I should have looked up find organizations. Oh, there's no events going on at Xavier, Louisiana. The school is Aura. That was a joke. I don't know. They did lose to that team early this season, which is bad. And Jackson State, for the longest time, I think they still might have it. Jackson State has the hardest strength of schedule in all of college basketball. They're 0-13. Let's listen to the teams that they've lost to, okay? Houston, High Point, Xavier, Vandy, Western Kentucky, Lipscomb, St. Louis, Arkansas State, Iowa State, UTEP, Akron, Cal Baptist. And that's how the SWAC goes. And again, Alcorn State's played some good teams as well, right? Utah State, Xavier, we're not going to talk about that. Louisiana, Xavier, Tulane, TCU, Washington, the cesspool known as UC Riverside, disgusting. South Alabama, Maryland, Wichita State, Oklahoma, Rice, UAB. The thing is, neither of these teams have been home the entire season. Guys, Alcorn State went to Xavier, Louisiana? Wait, why? No. See, guys, we're having more fun doing this than Nebraska, UCLA. Why the hell did Alcorn State go to an NIAA school? Guys, We've never done this. We're looking up highlights of this game. I'm serious. We're gonna watch some highlights. If there's no highlights on YouTube for this game, are you? What, guys? What? Guys, just check this out. Check this out real quick. I'm looking on YouTube, Alcorn State versus Xavier. I'm trying to find highlights. Obviously these are just bots or whatnot. We're finding Indiana versus Alcorn State from 10 years ago. Travis Hunter's insane pick 6 against Alcorn State. That's cool. He definitely watched that highlight in the car after the game. Guys, this game isn't on the internet. Why did they go to Xavier? What? I'll make it my mission to find a highlight of this basketball game. Here we go, ESPN. Oh my, guys. How do people watch the SWAC? Look at this. Videos. No videos available. Is there proof this game exists? I'm going on Twitter. I'm going on Twitter to find out. I'm serious. I'm going to go on Twitter because this should be big stuff for Xavier Louisiana. We're going to Alcorn State versus Xavier. I'm going to find proof that this game existed. Nope, can't find it. I'm serious. Guys, look at this. You go on Twitter to try to find this as well. Look at this. This is horrible. Look, what are we doing here? This is the first thing? Penn State, Oregon highlights? NCCU beats Alcorn State in the MAC SWAC Challenge. MEAC SWAC Challenge. Alcorn versus Jackson State. This game doesn't exist. Okay, hear me out though. I know we've taken a while to get to the verdict here on our pick. We're taking Alcorn State because they're at home. I know, they've had some bad losses too this season. We're taking the home team here, okay? I think they win this absolute crap pile of a basketball game. And hear me out again. Alcorn last year, they did the same thing. They were horrible to start the year. They did lose to Jackson State, but they finished the year pretty well. This team's more than capable, man. They're a more than capable basketball team. And also, it's a revenge game for Keontae Cornelius. Keontae Cornelius is a player who played at Jackson State last season, averaged 6.5 points. He comes to Alcorn. He's now their leading scorer. He averages 11 points. All right? He scores 13 points in this basketball game. He will already surpass the amount of points he scored last season the entire year for Jackson State. This is why we are taking Alcorn State to win the basketball game. It is Keontae Cornelius, the leading scorer for the Alcorn State Braves. I don't know if this is a rivalry, but he went over. And also for Jackson State, they are, I think, they just got Deshaun Ruffin back, didn't they? They get their best player back, who put up 20 points in the Cal Baptist game. That's fine. They still lost to Cal Baptist, who's not very good. They lost by 6 points, but still. I'm taking Alcorn State. They're at home. Let's start off the SWAC season right, man. We're gonna be all over the SWAC this year. We're gonna have some great basketball games with Southern, Alabama A&M, Alabama State, Florida A&M, Arkansas Pine Bluff, Bethune-Cookman, Grambling, Texas Southern, Mississippi Valley State, Prairie View A&M, and obviously Alcorn and Jackson State. I am so pumped for SWAC basketball this season. We're kicking it off with the Alcorn State Braves. All right, to the Atlantic Coast Conference from some. I just messed it up. English is tough, man. We go from some bad basketball to some more bad basketball. Why? Because Stanford's playing. 3:30 on ESPN2. We've got the Stanford Cardinal taking on the Pittsburgh Panthers. Give me Pitt. Give me Pitt by 1 million. 9.5. Yeah, we're gonna take it. Pitt was able to cover this line against Cal. Now, if you want to say Cal's better than Stanford, I'm not going to argue with you. But at the same time, I know Stanford beat Cal this season. But at the same time, I'm not going to argue with you if you say Stanford's better. They both suck. Okay, they just both suck. Stanford's coming off their loss to Clemson, where surprisingly, I think they covered. They were getting 14.5. They lost by 14, so it is what it is. Stanford's not very good, right? Stanford, the way to stop Stanford is so simple, and teams are going to continue to catch on. Stanford's got a guy who's going to go to the league next year, Maxime Reynaud, right? Maxime Reynaud averages 21 and 12. He's a good basketball player. He's a above average, no, he's an NBA level talent basketball player. But if you can shut him down, what the hell does Stanford do? Jalen Blakes is all right. Oziah Seller's okay, but they don't have consistent shooters on this team. So they can't consistently score without Maxime Reynaud. Again, teams are going to figure this out, and Pittsburgh, I'm sure, is aware of it. Maxime Reynaud against Clemson had a good game, at least on the glass, 13 points. But if you're able to take away his scoring, the likeliness that you win the basketball game is a lot higher. Now, we talked about that Ian Shefflin versus Maxime Reynaud matchup. Again, Reynaud went 0 for 6 from 3, shot 17 shots, 14 points. You know, a below average game for Reynaud, but that's the type of game, again, if Reynaud has a bad game like that, then you are easily able to beat the Cardinal. And for Pitt, right, you got Ishmael Leggett, who leads their team in points with 17.5, and then Lau as well averages 17.5. You got Damian Dunning, Cameron Corrin as well. They both average 11. Pitt will just be able to outscore Stanford. Stanford cannot get into games against teams like Pittsburgh where they're just trading blow for blow, trading shot for shot. It's just not going to happen. Pittsburgh will outscore Stanford in a game like this, right? Pittsburgh losses this season on the road at Mississippi State, against Wisconsin, a neutral site. Other than that, they've been really good. They're 11-2 as a whole. Big wins over WVU, LSU, Ohio State in overtime, VTech on the road, and their second game of ACC play, taking care of California, beating them by 12 points, a game we told you they were going to cover, and they did. I believe they're getting the same exact line. Are they getting 9.5 or 10.5 in that game, and Pitt did cover. For Stanford, again, this team's just... They are 9-4, but trust me, they don't play like a 9-4 team. The teams that they have beat this season are Denver, Cal State Fullerton, Northern Arizona, UC Davis. They should have lost to Norfolk State. They did pull it out against Santa Clara. That was a good win. Losses to Grand Canyon, Cal Poly, Oregon, and Clemson. Other wins are Merrimack, Cal, and Utah Valley. Those just aren't good teams. Really, Cal's all right, I guess. Their most impressive victories on the road at Santa Clara. You know, it just... Pitt's the better basketball team. Mosiah Sellers put up 20 in the loss for Stanford against Clemson. But again, for Pittsburgh, as long as you're able to take away Reynaud, or at least the impact that Reynaud has in the basketball game, Pitt's going to run right through them. And again, we have to talk about it. Travel's a thing, man. Stanford's on a long road trip here. Obviously, their last game was at South Carolina. Obviously, Clemson on January 1st. They've had to stay on the East Coast this entire time, and now they got to play Pitt. The same thing's in effect for Cal, who obviously had Pitt and now is Clemson. These West Coast teams, when they come out to the Atlantic Coast to play their conference games in the ACC, they have to, again, stay out on the East Coast for so long. Stanford returns home for the 8th and 11th of January, taking on VTech and Virginia in back-to-back games. But you know what happens after? They head right back onto the East Coast. They stay 4 nights in North Carolina. They go to, I believe it's Salem, I think, Wake Forest. And they go to UNC right after, but they have to stay there for they have Wake Forest on the 15th. They have UNC on the 18th. And it's just, again, Wednesday, Saturday games in the ACC, but man, that's rough. It's rough. Give me Pitt to dominate. Give me the Pitt Panthers to cover the 9.5 and win, obviously, outright as well. To our final game of the night, we go to the West Coast Conference. You know, we love talking about the West Coast Conference, and we're going to do it here. We really like Wazoo in this spot. This is the last game we have on the night, 4 o'clock game. If you want a bonus pick for a late night play, I don't mind Cal Poly plus 7.5 at Hawaii. Hawaii just lost to UCSB the other night. I think Cal Poly is able to cover the 7.5 in Honolulu. Okay, but this is obviously the big play here. Wazoo versus San Francisco. Wazoo is getting 2.5 points at home, minus 135 on the money line. They should absolutely handle the San Francisco Dons. Guys, San Francisco barely got out in that home game against Santa Clara. SC covered the spread, didn't win. If Christoph Tilley could hit a free throw, they would have won the basketball game, but it's fine. San Francisco is a much worse team on the road than they are at home. They're 1-1 on the road this season, but guys, they put up 64 points against Bradley, and they lost. Their other road game, they went to Pacific and won, but Pacific is Pacific. They were oddly close with Pacific and Stockton the other night. Oddly close. Pacific is in Stockton, right? Yeah, it is. I do find it odd, by the way, that the West Coast plays Thursday, Saturdays. Like, it's not that much time off. But I mean, it is what it is. You gotta get your Saturday games in, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Regardless, we like Wazoo in this spot. We like Wazoo a lot. I've been high on Wazoo all year long, guys. I think Wazoo has an outside chance to win the West Coast. I don't think they're going to, obviously, because Gonzaga's here. But I do think Wazoo's the second best team in the West Coast, especially after Oregon State. You know, Oregon State's not bad, but Oregon State's coming off a loss at Loyola Marymount where they got completely handled by 21 points. So I don't really rate them all that highly now. And you know who beat Loyola Marymount by 14? Oh yeah, the Washington State Cougars. So, you know. I think Wazoo wins this basketball game. Obviously, Calmes is their guy. Cedric Coward has only played 6 games this season, and I'm pretty sure he's not back. Obviously, for this one, he's been out since November 21st. But it's fine. Wazoo's made up for it. And again, Lawan Watts is pretty solid as well. If he stays out of foul trouble, he's really good. He can attack the hoop, and obviously, again, he's able to grab a lot of boards as well. Wazoo's been good this year, man. The Iowa game, they were close on the road. It is what it is. SMU, not a great game. And then the Washington game, that was just pitiful. And then Washington loses to Seattle University, who absolutely sucks. Like, what's going on in the state of Washington? But the thing is, Wazoo's just better than San Francisco. I don't think San Francisco is that good. They are finally getting got, guys. We've been waiting on San Francisco to lose a game like this. It is happening tonight. Give me the Washington State Cougars at home against the San Francisco Dons. They'll win the basketball game, and they'll cover the 2.5 points as well. Give me the Cougs. And folks, that'll do it for our 5 best bets for college basketball here on January 4th. If you have not yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily college basketball best bets here on the channel. Make sure to join us in about 3 hours for NBA predictions that are also daily on the channel as well. Make sure to go check out our NFL and our NBA predictions. Those are linked in the description down below. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.